Look, half the people listening to me are like, thank God he's only got 2 more weeks left.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, presented by CinemaSins.
Welcome to Behind the Sins, your weekly look at all things CinemaSins, TV sins, and commercial sins. I'm your host, Aaron, but not that Aaron, of course. And this week, I'm joined by CinemaSins staff writer, Deneé Hughes.
Hello. Nice to see you, everyone. Well, I do declare, isn't it great to be on the show and things? And well, yeah, isn't it great? Boy, howdy.
This is hilarious too, because literally last week, you were telling me that people thought Deneé had a better British accent than you.
I know. I should have just stuck with my British accent. Imagine it was Deneé doing an impression of me.
Oh,
that's amazing. She's going to love that impression. She really is.
So obviously Ian's joining instead this week. Life happens. It's all good. Ian was gracious enough to step in last minute. Just because I think he really wanted to talk about Sausage Party.
It's worked out really well because I get to say how much I love Generations and how much you should not exist for liking Sausage Party.
We'll get there.
Let's do it.
We don't have a small talk section here because we did that last week.
We only need to talk once a month. That's fine. No more small talk. That's your small talk quota has been exhausted for January.
Sure. Yeah, I'm good with that. Well, let's talk about the content of the week. We'll dive in with the SinSide Scoop.
What's he building in there?
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
This is a true story.
Let's kick things off with Monday's video, Rick and Morty. The season 6 finale. You guys have officially sinned every Rick and Morty episode so far.
How awesome is that? And
that's really cool.
Maybe every episode for a while as well.
This is also really funny too, because as we were talking last week about all the things, or maybe it was like as I was making notes for this, it was making the notes for one of these things, and it says like Googling Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon, and I was like, oh, you'll get a really different thing. Like if you Google that, like
oh yeah,
the
just
day that the
weeks
video
apart.
released, yeah,
totally different.
This is one of those things where it's like a day later that's already kind of dated, you know.
it's insane, isn't it? And it always happens. Like I know a couple of CinemaSins videos where somebody has passed away in between writing and it releasing, and they have to pull the video. I mean, rightfully so, and just like delete a sin that is like besmirching somebody that like tragically passed away. And it's wild when it's more obscure actors as well. It's like, yeah, we may make that reference one in every 200 videos, and of course it's the week they die that we make the reference. But yeah, I think everything still holds up and everything is still funny. We haven't and I don't think we would reference anything that would be in poor taste. We try and keep it to the show. I think the only reference we make is, hey guys, thanks for watching, as like a little nod to, we know you watch us, and we know you watch us. We know you do.
Well, there's inevitably gotta be a sin whenever Rick and Morty season 7 comes out and you guys sin the first episode. It's gonna be like, oh, Morty sounds different. Like, there's gonna be one. It's fine.
I mean, that might be when we change the narrator as well. Just like, hey, 2 can play at that game, and then suddenly the narrator sounds English.
I like that idea. Oh, that's a fun idea.
I think if Aaron...
just for that one sin, hey, you sound different.
Yes. Oh my goodness, that would be amazing. We just for that one scene, just like changing the voices of your characters and expecting nobody will notice. And it goes back to, I'm making a note of that. Cut that out of the show. Cut it out. I'm making a note that's going to happen.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought what interesting. So you guys have done every episode of Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Let's see, how dare they change the format of their own show, and then that sin being before the CinemaSins bumper comes on.
I was so happy with that. It's those hypocritical sins, and it's really strange. In the comments, there were a couple of people that were like, well done, that was quite clever. I was like, thank you very much. Like really reluctant praise for, I see what you did there. Well done. I like it. Yeah, that was fun. It kind of puts you on edge a little bit because like we've changed the CinemaSins intros like a few times, but it's always intro, here's the video, then go. To start off with a sin kind of puts you on the wrong foot, which I love doing.
It's not kyber crystals. The lightsaber's power source is clearly the incoherent ramblings of a man who 20 years after didn't realize he'd made the greatest movie ever, and he decided he needed to keep tampering it with it like he was a little kid and make Han fucking Solo not be the kind of guy that shoots first.
That was a combine. That was me and Jonathan. So I did the first half and he did the second. It is my one biggest, single, hugest flaw with Star Wars, and it's the lack of consistent universe building. And that's going to sound, I'm going to have people are already screaming at me because the books do an exceptional job of creating a universe. Cool, the books don't count. I know they do, but they don't. If you just stick to the 9 movies that we have, they are horribly inconsistent.
Yeah.
And it is so clear that Lucas from day one had no idea that he was creating the and to be fair to him, how could he have done? How could he have known the mammoth that he was creating? But like, going up to the prequels where Qui-Gon is Obi-Wan's master, and the whole point was that Yoda was Obi-Wan's master and he was the apprentice. Like it's just so inconsistent all the way through, and it just frustrates the Watts off of me. So to have people argue about how lightsabers work, I'm like, George Lucas invented the damn things and he doesn't know how they work. So it's amazing that we're arguing over it.
True. Hey Google, is the government listening in on me? Google sings the I'm singing or
I'm singing a song. La,
Yep.
la, 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 la.
I wanted to note. I wanted to ask about this. How did you guys do the Google Assistant voice? Was it something you could type in and it comes in, or did you like have to do a voice modulator?
It's really, really, really not exciting. I pulled it from YouTube. So I went to a list of the coolest Google commands that you can make, and one of them is just sing me a song, and that's what comes up. And then I just pulled up a YouTube clip of somebody doing that, and then pulled that audio into the Sin. But yeah, the idea is that Google's using it as a distraction technique. Just like, yeah, look over here. Don't worry that I'm listening to the government.
Story time. I was watching these videos and I paused it and I wrote down this note, and I had a Google Home not far from me. And so I said, hey, Google, is the government listening in on me? Just to see if that was actually what it did. And I was ashamed to find out it was not, because I was like, that'd be a really fun like Easter egg if that was actually Google's response. No, it actually went to like, according to subsection this of this law under the Patriot Act or whatever. It was just like, oh, what? I'm not. You're serious. I stopped listening. Yeah.
No, if you ask it to sing, then it will absolutely do that to you. It will sing the song.
Let's see. I'm pretty sure there's no God in the universe that would forgive me for removing a sin for Jerry, so I'm just going to go ahead and play those just in case there's an afterlife odds.
That's Jonathan. That made me laugh. I love that.
I did also note, I said I was going to count the times the narrator hates Jerry. I counted 4.
Oh, so it's a light episode.
Yeah, a light episode. Some asshole just went to the first draft to print without thinking, I wonder if we should beta test this first, as if they were working on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Yeah, shove that topical joke up your will immediately date this video pipe and smoke it.
It's one of those beautiful situations where they wouldn't let me have that sin in, because it's like, why does the narrator care about Pokemon? Like, why? Like, and that's going to age the video so much. And I was like, oh, is it now? Sweet. So I just add that to the end, which is funnier than the joke itself and allows me to keep the joke. Because it's true. That's only going to make sense probably in December of 2022. It's dated today when the video comes out. Oh, it's so funny. What I wanted to pull out, there were 2 scenes that I was really happy with. One of them was just a new saying for testicles, which is taint adjacent intangibles. And I'm just going to use that in everyday conversation. And I encourage you to as well. Oh, right in the taint adjacent intangibles.
You're just coming up with all the fun words, between the Wilhawk squawk and that.
Oh, I'm going to start my own dictionary. It's going to be the Whittington dictionary, and it's just going to be updated once. It's mainly going to be swear words. The other one I liked, and Aaron called me a troll for it, was half the internet would be great at Star Wars sins, but I'm not telling you which half. You are such a troll. You're like, we agree with you, but you'll never find out who.
Let's move on to Tuesday's video.
Let's do it. Let's go. Tell me why you love this movie.
Look, I don't love this movie. Let me tell you about my experience watching Sausage Party. By the way, I don't think I mentioned you and Jonathan on the Rick and Morty script.
Yeah.
But you mentioned, I think people could put it together. Sorry.
No, that's good. Yeah, that was me and Jonathan.
Sausage Party is you and Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was excited to see this movie. I knew what I was getting into. And me and my friend, mind you, this is like a 2016 movie, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm in Bible college at the time.
That's amazing. Do you like get kicked out just for like purchasing a ticket?
Well, I went with one friend, and we went to the local theater in town, and we saw the movie, and we laughed our asses off. The credits start rolling, and we look at each other, and we're like, we will tell nobody where we were tonight.
100%. Yeah, that's fair.
Because it is one of those, look, I laughed a lot, right? But I understand why you hate this movie, and I agree with you on every point too. It is
amazing.
offensive, and it is like racist, and it is like sexist. It is overly vulgar. It has a lot of there's the whole like afterlife thing that it's ripping on. Look, I understand. It is a very, very problematic movie that I laughed a lot at. So I am not defending Sausage Party at all. I'm not going to defend it at all. And the Sins video and look, I laughed a lot, but man, maybe only 30% of the jokes land, right? Because there is so
it's
much
scattershot.
So
yeah, there's so many attempts.
I like the D-Day homage. I thought that was really funny, like with the flower falling out of the cart.
The Saving Private Ryan.
Oh yeah.
Thingy. Yeah. No, totally agree.
Like that worked for me. I thought that was funny. I laughed a lot during the orgy scene because I was like, "Oh, is this movie really going? It is okay.
It's doing it."
And then it just happens, and you're like, "All right, this is." Look, half the people listening to me are like, "Thank God he's only got 2 more weeks left."
To be fair, I think Sausage Party does exactly what it intended to do. I don't think it was a misfire. I don't think they set out to do something and then missed the mark. I think it is exactly the movie it wanted to be. I just think it didn't work hard enough to be funny or like. I love this concept, but it's not subtle enough with it. And I know it's not supposed to be subtle, but like the whole Lavash and Sammy Bagel Jr. thing.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that's just too on the nose. It's just, okay, we know exactly what you're doing here. It's not very sensitive either. Like, you could have done a Rick and Morty, for example, and kept that as, like, totally different foods that still represent what you want to represent, but you're not hitting the nail on the head. Like, you're literally calling them exactly what they are. It feels like it's missing the subtlety of what's satire, and because it feels like it's meant to be a satire, but it's
I don't get that at all. No, like, and I think it's because if it is trying, it is doing such a poor job at being satire. Like, to me, I thought this is Seth Rogen and his friends got high and thought of just what is the funniest, most because they're like, we're making an adult animated movie. They wanted to make the most adult thing ever, you know. So like I'm not defending the movie. I'm just saying I laughed a lot, but even laughing a lot, I maybe only laugh at 30% of the things. Because there is more overwhelmingly cringe than there is laugh. I own a copy of this movie, but it's only because I got like a $3 Blu-ray at Family Video. And you know what? I watch it maybe once every 5 years.
Well, yeah, and when you press the button, it like makes that squelching noise that happens at the end.
I laugh and I feel guilty. Then I take a shower and I move on. You know.
Yep, that's fair. A mental shower.
Yep, and that's totally fine. But yeah, I'm not saying it's a good movie. I'm not even saying I like it. I'm saying that I'm not going to disagree with your hatred for this movie.
You're allowed to like terrible things.
We should get to the video anyway.
Let's do it.
Nobody wants to hear us saying everything that YouTube comments are already saying.
Yep.
The corn starts singing, and I don't think there was a good enough warning to tell me how many drugs to take before watching this. Granted, this is still raunchy animated movie about grocery store items featuring Seth Rogen, but you know what? That's plenty enough warning for how many drugs I was supposed to take.
We should have known. At this point.
You'll just have to trust me when I say the accents are 1,000% more offensive than you'd expect, while also being in the bottom 1% of things most likely to offend you in this movie.
Yeah, you'd think that would be like the bar was set. I was like, oh, okay. The German sauerkraut, the English, the French stereotype, everything. Nope, that's just the tip of the iceberg, my friend.
Man, this one here might be sin of the week, but the narrator points out all the different ways that the sauerkraut bottle is like symbolic of the SS of the Nazi party, because like it's got the SS and the sauerkraut, and it's got like
they
the
went
red
to so much
and
effort.
so much effort to like actually detailed make it look like like Nazi propaganda, that it says this item would be unmarketable in almost every state.
I hesitated so much on that one because I preempted the comment. Sometimes I'll just leave it in there, and if it gets caught out as being too offensive, then somebody will comment on it. But this one I preempted, and I was like, Chris, Jeremy, I'm English. Is that too much? Like, is that too harsh? Because I mean, we're not naming any states, but if you know, you know. And they were just like, no, that's perfect. Just do it. And to be fair, no one in the comments has said, oh, that's offensive or whatever. They love it. They almost every state, because nobody thinks it's their state.
Right.
Everyone's going to be pointing the finger at a different state, which is that's why I think it works.
And that's the hilarious where it's like, yeah, even if let's say 50% of Americans believe it's this 1 or 2 or 3 states, those 3 states believe it's complete. You're right. Nobody believes it's their state, and even if it is. Even if there is like an obvious one state, like that one state is like Hawaii, like
these guys are talking about Canada. I was like, okay, yeah, it's I was really happy with that one. That's the real thing I want to point out is that it's sad that isn't as much of a joke as we would like it to be.
Oh shit! I really needed that douche. I wonder which of this movie's 5 writers came up with that one.
It is crazy. Like this is my, like, Chris wrote this one, but I wrote one about the song, and I was like, I wonder which one of the 5 writers wrote the exterminate the juice line in the song. And it's my go-to thing whenever we sing like a Will Ferrell, Judd Apatow, I'm getting all of the names wrong. Any of those movies, I always lean on these are talented people that make me laugh in other things.
Yeah.
So why am I not laughing now, and why aren't they? Because they don't have to try hard in some of these. It can just be, hey, everyone turn up, be drunk, say shit and fuck, and you got yourself a movie. And I want more from them. I like it when they make me laugh.
Well, and the other thing too that's so disappointing about this movie is that like this is Seth Rogen and Adam Goldberg and Edward Norton and Bill Hader. I mean, not all of them writing, but like Salma Hayek, Kristen Wiig, Michael Cera, Jonah Hill, hilarious people. Nick Kroll as the douche, incredible. Yeah, incredible cast. Some of the funniest people out there, and it's just like not at any point did Edward Norton think,
I don't know. They must have known what they were getting into.
This weenie would be amazing at sending movies with the other weenies on our team.
So that came from Chris. So when your boss says that and you're reading it, I just reply, hey, but fair.
I pulled some comments from YouTube. Scat says there's no way in hell this movie hasn't been seen before, which led me to question, like, is there a reason this came out?
No, it was just, it's on the list of films that we should have done by now but haven't, from Chris, and we just did it. And the last couple of months, he said that that's happening a lot. Like, a lot of people in the Discord and on YouTube are like, hey, I'm certain this movie has been seen before. And we've dubbed it the, hey, we've been around for 10 years effect. Like, there's a point where, like, you're just going to assume that we've done every movie because it's been
if you'd asked me
a week
2 weeks ago, yes
years.
Or no, have you guys done Sausage Party? I would have said, yeah.
Whenever I look at the schedule, I'm exactly the same. Like, there are movies that I'm like, you're lying. You have seen this movie. And
we're done with the 10-year resins, right?
And then exactly. But no, it's just going to be this Mandela effect where we assume we've already done it.
Brad says this is one of those movies CinemaSins could have simply uploaded the entire film and just let it roll without commentary and call it a day.
Oh, it was tempting. Yeah. It's a 28-minute video. It would have been a damn sight quicker to do
It's a 28-minute video that already doesn't have the orgy in it, which is like 10 minutes of the runtime.
We couldn't do it.
The Commentator Dragon, it's hard to believe that this movie is still getting its own TV series called its Sausage Party Foodtopia in 2024. Yeah. So look forward to that on TV Sins.
Oh, I will insist that we do not sin it. But I had no idea this was coming until the YouTube comments. I didn't realize this was a thing at all. I'm baffled that it is.
I think I remember getting announced, but it was one of those where it's like, it's just getting announced with a bunch of other stuff and it flies under the radar. And does anybody care? And then my favorite comment of the week, Zim says, unironically, the best part of this movie is the fact that it supports audio description, absolute deadpan delivery, and when it comes to that scene, cocktail mixers flash meatloaf, bacon rubs Roquefort cheese, and then smells his finger.
It's
Prime Video
insane.
supports audio description. I want
It's
to watch
brilliant.
this movie that way so bad.
Some poor person had to do all of that, and they're just like, okay, this is my life now. I guess it's no stranger than us dissecting every single frame of this movie to find stuff to talk about.
True. Let's move on to Wednesday's video then. She-Hulk, 1x3. Jonathan and Deneé writing on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The sin, as always, is The Office.
I have a feeling Deneé wrote that.
Me too. That's part of the reason why I wrote it down, because I was doing prep. It's like, Deneé.
Yeah. Or Jonathan knew that Deneé was on the script and wrote it on her behalf, more than likely.
That's all right. Deneé's in good company, because I think The Office is overrated. I don't hate it as much as her, but I certainly don't like it.
I love it, but that's fine. I'm used to being the only right person in this conversation.
Yeah, Sausage Party is great, but The Office terrible.
Yeah.
Let's see. This must mean he has a super ability to recreate Crocs from thin air, and that is truly an abomination.
Agree. Hard agree. And
Random Asgardian weapon thieves survived this, which is good because I don't want She-Hulk to be a murderer. At least, I don't think so. I mean, maybe No. Definitely don't want She-Hulk to be a murderer.
That's one of those Deneé sins. It's just like, I do? No, I don't. But I kind of do. But I don't. But I kind of do. Yeah, I would bet money that she wrote that one.
I think this is a really interesting point because, like, I'm totally fine having some heroes that kill. I think that's really interesting. Like, I'm tired of every project, like, leading into, like, there are some projects that should wrestle with that, right? But between Daredevil and Batman, we got it all covered. Like, wrestling with is killing bad.
Yeah.
I'm so ready for Blade, just to see Blade kill vampires. Like, yeah, it's just one of those things where it just felt like we collectively decided that if superheroes are to be heroes, that they can't kill anybody. And it's like, look, sometimes you just need to kill Joker, right? Or some then that's the whole point of the Killing Joke, is that, like,
yeah,
Batman's just one snap away from being the Joker, and it's like it's so nuanced, but like I just kind of want the boys every now and then, like,
yeah, just unadulterated.
I want Captain America to take somebody's head off with the shield every now and then.
Let's do it. It would happen, even accidentally.
I'm not saying he has to be a total murderer all the time, but I'm just saying, like, I want Ben Affleck Batman every now and then.
Aaron Schweitzer condoning superheroes murdering mortals.
Only it's clearly a fake universe, right? Like,
yeah,
like that's the thing, is they're not trying to be set in our universe, so like I don't care. Like, I'm detached.
That makes it okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of what they're doing with Black Adam, or would have been doing, because he just murders people. He's like, he doesn't care.
I'm sure they would have eventually turned him into a good guy. He can't kill people anymore.
Yeah, redefine that balance of power. I had surviving 9 years in retail, because as someone who survived 15 years in retail, I hard agree. Retail sucks. I'm sorry for anybody still out there.
I just read the other one you have.
Yeah. Also, I do not know what kombucha is, or whether it is or is not made in the toilet. So I was guessing you might be able to help me out with this one.
Oh.
Do you know what a kombucha is?
It's a tea.
Oh, okay.
It's a fermented, lightly effervescent, sweetened black tea drink that is commonly consumed for purported health benefits. I was like, I know, terrible. Like, in my city, because University of Iowa is here, there is a large, like, international population, so like bubble tea is huge in my city.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I ferment alcohol, like, not kombucha is typically NA, but now, like, every time that kombucha's got to be mentioned, I want a Glass Onion outtake of, that's hard kombucha, that's Jared Leto's hard kombucha.
Yes. Oh man!
Every time kombucha's mentioned, I want that. Yeah,
hard kombucha.
And the way he said, "That's Jared Leto's hard kombucha." Yeah, fermented tea, essentially.
Amazing.
Let's see. Leonardo on YouTube says, when I first watched this episode, I honestly believed Megan Thee Stallion was a fictional character created to parody the likes of Kim Kardashian.
I mean, it is beyond me as well. Like, I had heard of her, but I'm not going to pretend to know, like, her music or anything. Like, I am so out of the loop with popular music.
Was she the All About That Bass? No, that was
this is going to be great. Meghan Trainor.
Yes, you're right. And she's married to the kid from Spy Kids now.
What, Meghan Trainor is?
Yeah. Junie from Spy Kids. They're married.
Huh. That's really
Anyway,
funny.
yeah,
Yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion is one of those that like I don't know I don't know the music. I don't know. It's not my kind of music, but I am on TikTok, so yeah, I see.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure there's sounds all the time or whatever.
Uh-huh.
That's all I had for this video. It looks like Deneé sent in some notes.
Yeah, Deneé has some general thoughts about She-Hulk. She said, in general, at this point in the show, I don't know what I'm having fun with. It seems confused about what it's doing, and I'm confused about what it's doing. I enjoyed writing with my partners and was impressed with their confidence to point out some things wrong with the letter of the law. Me too. I think it was still general enough that we get away with it. But yeah, it's always tricky to comment on legal stuff because we don't have that knowledge, and that's not what we're here for. But no, I really, really agree with Deneé's thoughts. Like, I think especially the middle of the series was a little bit mixed with what it was going for, with like, felt like it slipped into the female protagonist has to find a man, has to find a date, and it's all about finding the balance between being a career woman and having a social life as well. And I don't know if it was deliberate, if it meant to do that, if it wanted to do that. I enjoyed it much more when it's being meta and fourth wall breaking and bucking those stereotypes rather than playing in them. So yeah, I got a little bit lost in the middle of the show for sure.
Star Trek Generations, you ready to
Let's
do it?
do it. Let's go. Best movie of the week.
You and Daniel writing on this one. Really? Man.
Come on, bring it. Have you even seen this movie?
No, I've only seen the Kelvin timeline of Star Trek stuff. I'm not a Trekkie.
Good.
I've seen the Kelvin timeline and the first season of Lower Decks.
Okay, cool.
And that's it.
Keep it that way. Stay off my bridge.
Look, it's too much of a time commitment. Same with Doctor Who. Like, I'm never actually going to do it. But if I were to do Star Trek stuff, I would just do Next Generation, and that would be it. Because that show is widely revered and is long, and everybody loves Picard.
I would recommend that. That's where I've landed on people starting. You should start with TNG, and give it 3 seasons before you give up.
Yeah, and if you really want to do more, do it. But also, like, you're watching the best out there. So
yeah, you are for sure.
Yeah, no, I've never seen this movie. I don't know, and I think even the Sins video points it out, where it's just like Shatner wanted to come back, and so they were just like, all right, well, we'll let you get away with this stupid stuff. And just none of this video interested me in exploring, again, anything more, especially on the movie side. And I know, like, general rule of thumb is odd movies are bad, even movies are good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where this falls into that, but it didn't make me want to do anything.
This is an odd numbered movie. So this is number 7 technically. So it would fall into the odd is bad. But I think Generations kind of breaks that rule for me. But I love all of the TNG movies. I can't pretend to be impartial. I love all of them. This is definitely a 2-parter episode that they turned into a movie. It's not really a movie you can just go in and watch. You would be missing so much context. It wouldn't make any sense to you at all. And it's interesting the direction they took with some of it. Like, I think it's better if Kirk isn't in it. He definitely feels shoehorned in, all of the way shoehorned in. The way they kill him off at the beginning of the film in his own time is great. That's fine. Let him die. Let that be it. It's just a cold open that doesn't relate back to the rest of the movie, and I'm happy with that. But yeah, Jonathan hates Generations. He despises this movie. So it would have been really interesting if he was writing with me, because I had 5 sin removals in my script originally, and they wouldn't let me keep them all, which was fair. So I think I kept my 2 favorites, but I think Daniel was a bit more lukewarm on this one. But so he was more like the balancing factor on my gushing about how much I love it. But yeah, I have a blind spot for these movies. I love these actors. I love this crew. They can do anything they want. The Enterprise crash landing sequence is incredible. A feat of practical effects. Yeah, I love it. And Malcolm McDowell?
Yep.
He's an awesome bad guy. His line delivery is so intense at every moment. I love him.
Into the Sins video, William Shatner overselling this turbulence because he didn't have any dialogue to butcher. That's
mean.
Brilliant.
It's so mean. I love it. He has to oversell something.
Guinan forgets that Picard is at least part English and could therefore never be happy in a place where he had nothing to complain about.
I resemble that sin.
Did you write it?
Yes.
I was like, I figured. Ian's on the script. It's a dig at English people being upset at everything all the time.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
It's great. We could never be happy. We could never, ever be happy.
Time has no meaning there. Soren goes to all this trouble searching for an experience he could easily find in. Let's see, what have we got here this week? Ohio. I love the pause where it's like, all right, check the list. What's next on the...
It's kind of to prove that there is no harm intended. Like, we literally just pick these states at random, other than Delaware. But it is just like, hey, what's the state of the week this week to insult?
It was fun. Well, I'm glad somebody thinks so. And I'm sure you're going to talk about it more, but just the going on multiple times about why it makes no sense for Picard to travel back only right before the missile launched, as opposed to like a week. You know, all the different ways that could have. I'm sure that. Look, this would make me so mad.
It breaks the movie in so many ways. I know that the one of the comments, we're going to talk about it in a minute, so I'll save it until then. But it is my biggest flaw with the movie that takes me out of the movie every time because it's so big. Yeah, it winds me up. But there were a couple of things I really enjoyed having the chance to sin in this movie. That champagne bottle at the beginning that smashes against the Enterprise B has always annoyed me because it's the CGI just wasn't quite there yet. And then just also, who's throwing the damn thing? Why are we still doing this? Like, who is throwing it? Like, you're either launching it with some kind of mechanism or you're chucking it out of a window and you've got somebody in an EV suit for this really bizarre old ritual that we still do. And it's just in space, it's so not practical. It's just not a good idea. This is going to be something for the Trek nerds. It always annoyed me that Guinan never warned the Federation about the Borg, because the reason Guinan and Soren are on that ship is because they've been made refugees by the Borg. Which, if that happened 100 years ago, she just sat on that information until Picard asks her about the Borg 80 years later, and she's like, "Oh yeah, they're terrible. You should stay the fuck away." Like, you couldn't have given them 100-year head start on what the Borg are. So just a little plot hole that never gets reconciled. In terms of the sins, Daniel wrote a great one, pretending to be the captain of a boat in your free time away from your job as the captain of a space boat. And it's just funny that the crew plays the crew of another Enterprise while giving Worf the promotion. But yeah, I love the way that he worded that. This was another one for the fans. This is the only version of the Enterprise that Deanna does not crash while at the helm. So she pilots the Enterprise into the planet, and then 2 films later, she crashes the new Enterprise into another ship. And it's the only 2 times we see her at the helm. And both times she wrecks it into something. It's just, I don't know if it was deliberate or it's just how it happened, but it's beautiful. I'm hoping for some redemption in Picard season 3, where she pilots a ship and doesn't crash it. And I love the math that went into this one. It's wild to me that if you pick a random Star Trek movie from before 2009, there is a 40% chance you'll get one that contains a ship of pissed off rogue Klingons chasing down the Enterprise, and a further 20% chance that they're also looking for a super dangerous weapon. It's insane how much that idea has been recycled in the Star Trek movies that you can percentage it. There's a lot of fun.
That's amazing. Let's talk about the theory then. Let's talk about the comments. Zobal Doran says, one theory I've heard for Picard only going back a few minutes was so that if he and Kirk failed, they'd be pulled into the Nexus and could just try again and again and again if necessary. And look, I don't know how this works, so I don't know, but you're a Star Trek nerd. What do you think?
You're absolutely right, but you can still do that anyway, right? If you go even further back in time, you still have that as your last resort option. You're starting with the last resort, where, yeah, you can keep replaying, but what happens if something happens and they both die, and them dying means they don't get into the Nexus? Like, what if there's a permutation where it doesn't work? The big thing for me is that Captain Picard's family died in a fire at the start of this film. So he is also choosing to not go back in time to save them. Like, he can pick any point that he wants. And I know he probably doesn't want to mess with the timeline, but I am 100% certain he should have been saving his family there, because anything you do is messing with the timeline. Anything that stops Soren. So why not just save your family as well? And if you don't want to save the family, save the Enterprise. go back in time and stop the Enterprise from blowing up, because at that point, he doesn't know that anyone has survived. He only knows that the ship has crashed. So fortunately, like they say at the end, the casualties on the Enterprise were light. How about no casualties at all? Just by coming back 10 minutes earlier and warning them. There is just, I cannot think of a logical reason why they would return to that exact moment. Especially considering the uphill battle that you see them have. It's like, you didn't gain any advantage, you still nearly lost. It's insane to me, and it does take me out of the movie.
Okay.
Which is why it was so cathartic to sin this movie. I loved it. Finally, I can air my frustrations.
Anything else from this video?
No, other than we wrote it 8 months ago. Like, it's one of those videos that took so long to release because there's not a huge amount to tentpole it with other than Picard. It was just like, write it and then just gone for 8 months out of my brain. But no, it's so fun to get into sinning the Next Generation, and lots of people in the comments were like, finally, we're getting to the TNG movies. Yeah, I love it. More to come.
On to Friday's video, Commercial Sins, Verizon the Cable Guy.
Mm.
Looks like this was Jonathan.
Correct.
3 weeks in a row for Jonathan. It runs my business. Runs your business. We seem to be getting into some AI territory here, and maybe that will be cool for a minute, but then all of a sudden it's Terminator Genesis, and as audiences duly noted in 2015, no one wants that shit.
Hey, I like Genesis.
Me too. It's fine.
It's great. It's good.
It's fine.
I like it.
It's okay.
It's better than 3.
I like 3.
No, I like 3 as well. But
Salvation's fine, and
you know what we need to do?
I really didn't like Dark Fate.
I loved Dark Fate. Oh, loved it. That retcon at the beginning was incredible. What I wish from every Terminator film is that we would stop comparing it to T2. I wish James Cameron would stop saying, this is the best movie since T2. Like, this is the true sequel. Stop it. It's like Halloween. Like, this is the best one since the original. Every time it comes out. And it's like, I'm not expecting it to be. I just want you to tell a story in this world that makes sense.
I just want it to be better than Halloween Resurrection, you know?
Yeah. Halloween Ends and Halloween Kills. I want it to be better than those movies.
I kind of like those too.
You do?
No. I don't think we need you. Well, then maybe you shouldn't have fucking called him in the first place.
Right.
Like, just a running joke of, like, if you didn't, like, Cable Guy only shows up when you call them. Like...
Right. It's a broken premise to begin with, because we don't need the Cable Guy anymore. That's the whole point. But yeah, getting this happy about a box-shaped doohickey, that was amazing. And I just like the price is the price. Fuck off. Like, it's so obviously never the case when you're dealing with cable companies. The price is never the price. There's almost always some bullshit, or else we would never need to switch companies. We would just be able to stay put. But no, we can't.
Well, that'll do it for the content of this week. So let's move on to Behind the Sinner.
So tell me about yourself.
We're all sinners. Every one of us.
And what happens to sinners?
Get to know each other better, you know?
See, Daddy, sinners have soul too.
The information, it's too much.
Walk away, March. Just walk away.
Ian, you were on last week, so we got a chance to ask you all the Everything Ever All at Once videos. But Deneé still did some prep stuff to send it to you. So
she did.
Not in your Deneé voice. We're just gonna let you be the surrogate for her today to get to ask all the questions.
What are you trying to say about my Deneé voice? Did you not like it?
Oh, I loved it. I just think I can't bear any more of it because this podcast can't be too much fun. Yeah.
Got it. Good save. Nicely done. Let's have a look. So, Deneé says, her favorite thing about the video was working with Iris to do her narration for the Sin, because obviously Iris is 5 and doesn't understand like what CinemaSins is, thank goodness. She knows what YouTube is, but didn't understand entirely what she was doing. She just knew that she had to say these lines, and it is adorable. So Deneé has sent me the outtakes for that session. It's a couple of minutes long, so I'll send it to you, Aaron, and you can chop it up and put it in the outtakes for some, for whatever you like. But a lot, it's Iris just like, what am I going to say? And then she goes on to like talk about and another thing that she wanted to talk about. So it is incredibly adorable. She loved it so much. It's so good. And then she was the meowing cat as well, and she was very, very proud of her meows and her growls in particular. So yeah, the cat was cast perfectly, and yeah, she echoed the same thought. She thought that the guys did such a great job putting the video together, and it's nice to see everybody comment on it as like the culmination of all of like the CinemaSins videos is like super duper appropriate for it to be this. So it's the most adorable part of the video. Iris's line is so good. You're making a mockery of Citizen Kane.
It's great.
Love it.
Ian, I will give you the choice. Since you were on last week, this would put you on another one. Do you want to do a game of 3 Sins and a Lie, or do you want to not be? Do you want to be spared of your embarrassment?
No, let's do it because I won last week, so I'm going to win again.
Well, I'm not gonna mess up one of them this week.
You screwed up too, to be honest.
Joseph did like DM me, and he's like, "Hey, don't worry about it."
You dick.
The Happening or Titanic?
Oh, Titanic.
All right. The way this game works is I have 4 sins here. 3 of them are in the video. One of them is Joseph wrote to try to throw you guys off. So you have to guess which one you think Joseph wrote that is not in the video. Here we go. Sin number 1. Actually, Rose, her friends call her Maggie and not Molly. She was only known as Molly after her death. Sin number 2. How did she get the number to the ship? Google didn't exist yet, and I'm willing to bet my bottom dollar that asking the operator to connect you to any vessel out at sea would get you nothing more than silence and a click. Sin number 3. Experience the extraordinary detail and rich history of the Titanic, but only after you spend 21 minutes really getting to know the modern-day assholes trying to get rich off of it. And sin number 4, this notion of her heaven is romantic and all, but I'm glad she gets to spend eternity here with all these people, but what about her family? Like, she has a granddaughter, so at some point she was probably married, at least having sex, and had at least one child, maybe more, all of which suggests that there might be at least a few non-Jack people in her 101-year life that might be important enough for her too, right? I mean, where are those people? Are they on E-Deck?
I'm going to go really wild and pick number 1 is the fake.
You think number 1 is the actually Rose, her friends call her Maggie, not Molly. She was only known as Molly after her death. That would be incorrect.
Okay.
The correct one is how did she get the number to the ship? Google didn't exist yet. Yada, yada, yada.
Oh, interesting. I was trying to metagame it and just think maybe he's going for something really simple that has like little personality and sticking that in rather than picking something that's like a real sin.
Well, Joseph is a huge Titanic buff.
Yeah, he's watched that movie like a bajillion times.
We've seen like all the Titanic movies that have ever existed. So like huge history person there. So I was like, this would be really fun. I would have guessed that one too, because that would be a like something that a Titanic buff would have known. So I could just cut this whole thing and we could just go back to you saying, no, I won last week. I want to ride my high.
Yeah.
Well, that'll take us to Beyond the Sins.
To infinity and beyond.
Somewhere beyond my wild history.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Ian, what is that one thing that you want to quickly recommend, warn, or reca-warn?
I want to recommend, with a caveat, Ozark, which is a Netflix TV show that I'm way behind the times on. I'm going to say it's a big recommend. Like, if you love the Breaking Bad style of TV show where you've got like the kind of middle America family tries to not do drugs, but does like money laundering and works for a drug cartel. It's
No, I want middle American family tries to do drugs.
Yeah, let's do it. It's incredible. It's really, really great. Jason Bateman is one note sociopathic deadpan delivery on everything, and it's somehow really comforting and really reassuring because 9 times out of 10 he has his ducks in a row. He's very particular and he just gets shit done, and he's just so confident with it. And the surrounding cast is incredible as well. It's a good level of edge of your seat, but you can still breathe. So there's some joy to it. Whereas Breaking Bad was getting to a point where there was no joy in it. It was just suspense. When is the other foot going to drop? I'm terrified. And the kind of ending reflects that. Ozark, I haven't finished yet. I'm halfway through season 3, and there's 4 seasons altogether. The big caveat, I'll say, is that whereas Breaking Bad has an element of luck that plays in the universe, but most of it is Walter White's skill and intelligence and cunning and his like scheming to get out of situations. Ozark is like 85% luck. Like, there is so so much that relies on a random death more than once, a stroke of luck, or a character just simply changing their mind with no discernible reason. They just agree to go along with something or decide something isn't important anymore, or they're just buried. Like something that you think is going to be a problem just ends up being like, he'll literally say, I've dealt with them, but dealt with it off screen. So that's where there is a trade-off, whereas Breaking Bad is like really meticulous. Ozark is much more, it's kind of less intimidating, but the trade-off is that it might be a little bit soapy and a little bit, you gotta let your ex machinas kind of fly, because the way they survive is very interesting. But that may all change in season 4, I don't know, but it's definitely, for TV shows, it's a big recommend for me. I can't imagine you watching it and being disappointed. Have you seen it?
No, it's been on the queue for a while, but I think it was on the queue and then they took it off because there's too many shows on the queue. And
it's worthwhile. It's good. Jason Bateman on his own is just incredible.
I love me some Jason Bateman.
Oh, so good.
I will talk about a video game since that's what I've been spending most of my time with. So I think I've mentioned on this show before, I recently got a PS5, and so that is upstairs, and I'm going to move my PS3 downstairs. But I'm trying to play all my games on my PS3 because that's the bigger, better TV before I move it downstairs. And so I am trying to play through all my catalog that I have, which is not terribly extensive. It's pretty much only things that you like can't buy on modern consoles, but games that I loved, or PS3 exclusives that I never got around to because I didn't have a PS3. I had Xbox 360. So Resistance and God of War and things like that. But then also like things that you like just can't get anymore because of licensing, like those mid 2000s 007 games.
Yes.
The quick sidebar. So anyway, so the game that I'm recommending, really 2 games. It's honestly, these are the games that made me want to get a last gen console again. These are the ones that like I was looking at buying an Xbox 360 or a PS3 because I really wanted to play these 2 games.
Yeah.
And I went with the PS3 so I could also play the exclusives. It is Transformers War and Fall of Cybertron. War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron. Amazing. Have you played these games?
I haven't, but this would be the peak time that I worked at Toys R Us. And I worked on the multimedia department, which I don't know what we'd call it nowadays, but it was where like the consoles and stuff were sold. And the Transformer game tie-ins were always great. They were always really, really solid games. They weren't like the Iron Man tie-ins or the Flushed Away or whatever like cartoon tie-ins. They were always a bit naff. But the Transformers games were always solid.
Well, so even like I've been playing some of the Transformers movie tie-in games as well for this, and they're fine. They're okay. They're totally serviceable. They're destination, go from point A to point B and shoot things along the way.
Yeah.
But Transformers War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, they're prequels. I think they're not meant to connect to the movie universe, but I see no reason why they can't.
Yeah.
They're so good. The first one takes place exclusively on Cybertron, and the second one is about like essentially they lose, like you play as the Autobots and Decepticons, and you follow them as they lose the war, the Autobots, or lose the battle. They're really great third-person shooters that are mostly shooters than anything, but they've got a great like style to them, really great control mechanics, really interesting character abilities and things like that. I remember I used to play the multiplayer in this game a lot, and I was good at it. Had some really awesome multiplayer.
Nice.
Look, these games are awesome. You can't find them anymore. Like, you can't buy them on the store because Activision lost the rights. It was Activision and High Noon Studios. They lost the rights to Transformers, so they can't make them anymore. But if you have a PS3 or an Xbox 360, even if you aren't a Transformers fan, grab these games. They're so good. And I think you can like find PC discs. So obviously they're expensive.
I mean, if you have a disc drive anymore, a lot of PCs don't even have a disc drive.
Right. So anyway, just Transformers War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron. They are awesome.
Nice.
Well, that'll do it this week. Short episode this week, but we didn't have to do the whole what do you think of She-Hulk, because we talked about that last week, and what do you think of Rick and Morty, because we've talked about it. So short episodes every now and then are great. Thanks again to Deneé for hanging out this week.
Oh, you're welcome. Oh, it's amazing.
Thanks again to Ian for hanging out, for subbing in last minute.
Happy to be
appreciate your time. Anywhere that you want to send people, maybe to talk about the GoldenEye.
Usual places. At Wits End on Twitter, WHITTSINNED. Talk to me about how rubbish GoldenEye is on the Switch. Talk to me about Picard Season 3 as well, because that's coming out soon. And join us on Captain's Pod for that as well, wherever you podcast.
Mm-hmm. And you can follow me on Twitter, Letterboxd at Schweitcastle. Any feedback for the show, you can send that to bts@cinemasins.com or DM the BTS Twitter at CinemaSins. Ideas that you want to hear in Season 4, send that along as well. Things that you want to stay from Season 3 into Season 4. Just any thoughts that you have on the show, what it has been or what you want it to be, send that. We would appreciate any feedback you guys have. And lastly, don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you're listening from, and come back next Thursday for more Behind the Sins content.
Behind the Sins!
Thanks for listening. Send any feedback to bts@cinemasins.com, and be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment. Find more ways to connect by visiting cinemasins.com/BTS.
Because it's still fucking cold.
Oh man, you just sounded like Roy Kent there.
Oh, from Ted Lasso?
Uh-huh.
It was in The Boys as well, and I think I used a C word, and I think his exact note was, "Come on now, can we use something else?" And I was like, "We absolutely can. It's just nice to know where you draw the line." I was like, "Ian, when do you sleep?" "I get a good 3 hours." Like, he's barely a dog. Hang on, come up here.
And you're still struggling to lift him. Hi, buddy. What's up?
Hey, buddy.
I love the way that like his fur off of his nose, he's got kind of a Poirot stash going.
He does. He does. It's a Poirot dog. He's so tiny and so pathetic.
Don't you think Indiana Jones wishes they could retcon the worst Indiana Jones movie, Temple of Doom?
Yeah, I mean, it's out of the 3 movies, that's definitely the worst one. Yes.
Let's move on to Behind the Sinner then. Better transition, something that allows me to actually...
Hello. Perfect. Okay. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to say, this movie is making a mockery of Citizen Kane.
This movie is making a mockery of Citizen Kane.
Do you want to say, meow, meow? Perfect.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I love you so much.
Okay,
I hope you have a good day today. Oh, everyone. Hello, everyone. Oh, yeah. Hello, everyone. Oh, yeah. Hello, everyone. Oh, yeah. Let's go.
You have to get ready for school.
Hi,
Okay,
everyone.
say goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Did I get it right?
You got it right so many times. I've got so many takes now.